Hello and welcome back to The Novelist. So currently we are in the 5th chapter of this story, and when Linda and Tommy had surprise visitors the same weekend that Dan's friend was visiting. So, this is going to be a controversial one. I was actually looking through at my list of who I've chosen and the compromises and things like that, and I'm really not sure who to choose for this one. Who should get the full brunt choice and who should get the compromise, and who should get left out entirely. I've actually been keeping a bit of a score so I can kind of make some informed decisions, and it's a tough one. They're all about equal. So do I help out the wife or do I help out the kid? Do I help out Dan? He's had a pretty rough break lately. Anyways, let's investigate and we'll make our decision then. So, Guy, probably not expecting to hear from me, where are you? You know I'm all about surprises. Look, we're gonna head up the coast next weekend. We're doing the drive from LA to Seattle. I have an interview up there on Tuesday, and Kelly has a friend who's gonna introduce her to someone casting people from Vancouver. Can we crash at your place on the way up? We should be pulling through next Friday. I was thinking we could use it as an excuse to jam on our books. I want to see your new stuff, and I have a draft I want you to take a look at. I'm way beyond knowing what's good or not with my work, so I really could use your advice. And I'll give it to you straight about your new book. Is there a title yet? Could be an impromptu writer's workshop, I guess. Anyway, I think it'd be fun. Let me know. So that's Dan, clue number 1. So Dan's got a friend coming into town. And we're pretty sure that Linda and Tommy has somebody. Honey, I'm sorry it's been so long since my last letter, but we've all been Honey, I'm sorry it's been so long since my last letter, but we've been all over the place. Have you gotten settled into that big house yet? I hope getting away from everything has been a help for you and Dan. Kind of. I'm writing because, speaking of getting away, your father and I are going to take a road trip. I found some good AARP deals with your father. Only working part-time, it wasn't very hard to arrange time off. It's been too long since our last trip. I've always enjoyed changes of scenery, and you are hopefully learning it can be just the thing a marriage needs. Lord knows it's helped us. The trip won't take us close enough to the shore to come visit, I'm sorry to say, and if you write back, we'll be gone before your letter arrives. We'll call if one of our motels has long distance, but if we don't get a chance to call, send my love to Dan and Thomas. You know your father and I want the best for you all. Love, Mom. Interesting. Okay, so her parents are coming through the area, but it's not like they're going to see them or anything, they're just coming through. There's a Tommy clue. So we found one of each clue. Looks like Tommy and his friend going camping, I guess. Interesting. It looks like things are slightly shifted around. That is interesting. I like that they changed the note a little. I mean, some of the same meals and stuff shuffled around, but who doesn't eat the same meals, once every couple weeks? Let's bug Tommy real quick. Explore. There we go. Alright, what is bugging you, little chap?
Let me call his mommy.
Can Davey sleep over?
Ah, he wants his buddy to hang out. Let's go out. He's always in his room. No. Well, it's getting louder. Yeah, it's definitely downstairs. Maybe an art studio? Yes. Okay. We get that picture a lot. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I need more clues from him before I'll actually know what's going on. Definitely not happy. Check sofa, call Chamber of Commerce, hotels in town, double check T&K trip when Dan gets back. Is she looking for hotels for her parent? I'm confused. Oh, maybe for Dan's friend? Her work's coming together. See, I told you there's a bird in a cage and a branch. Whatever. memories.
I thought Tommy was sleeping with us.
I'm checking to see if this is a fold-out.
Ooh. I already read that. Check the art studio. Nope. Ah, there it is.
Just got back from the show, if you can even call it that. I didn't sell a single piece, which isn't a surprise given the turnout. I know Dan had other things on his mind, but I told him how important it was to me. It was such a good opportunity to figure out what I want to do when we get back home, too. But I can't make up my mind based on such a half-hearted exhibit. Was that Dan's way of telling me he's not ready for me to go back? I don't want to read too much into it, at least not so soon, but it's really hard not to.
Dang. This game makes, like, everything incredibly... Like, it makes the decisions hard. You can't just, okay, compromise with each one and you get a happy ending. Like, you actually have to try to help everybody. Watch that ugly sweater Mom and Dad gave me so they can see me wearing it. I'm still...
Gotta talk to Mom.
I'm still confused about her parents coming into town. Like, are they actually going to be somewhere where they can chill, or... Because I thought it said they couldn't visit. That's why I'm just incredibly confused. I talked to Davy's parents, and they're okay with him sleeping over. They said they'd take care of Tommy some weekend in return. I know the timing isn't great, but maybe we can work something out. Let's talk when you get up. So that was a note for Dan, and I think Dan is our last culprit. So there's the sweater. We don't want to select the sweater. We got to make a decision. We're not ready yet.
Good news. Mom called today with a change of plans. They made better time on the first leg of the trip than they expected, and they're coming to visit. Bad news, they want to come this weekend. Did Dan tell Tynan they could stay here for sure, or is that still up in the air? I'll ask after dinner. She sounded cheerful enough on the phone, though I can't help wondering if they took this trip because they hit another rough patch. I hope not. I hope they just want to see Tommy and have a classic Mears family feast, though maybe seeing how they've ended up will be good perspective for Dan and me. Speaking of which, Dad better not get nosy. I've told him 1,000,000 times that my marriage is not his business. Maybe I'll try the thing Christine told me. When someone asks you something private, just say, "Why do you ask?" Put it back on them and see if they've actually got a reason to get into your business. Yeah, I've got to remember to try that. We'll see how he answers that one.
Interesting. Okay, so that does explain what is leading her parents to actually be, in the same vicinity, because I was actually really curious about that. Yeah, very, very interesting. So Tommy's got a friend over. Her parents are coming in, and Dan might have a friend over. I think this is Dan, so we're going to read it real quick.
I took Tynan up on the book jam. He hasn't seen a word of my new book, and fresh eyes are priceless.
Everybody's got someone
He bailed
coming
me out
over.
on Tramer's Way. I hope he understands how much of that book worked because of him. I still remember when we were walking to the pond, and he had the idea about using newspaper clips and police reports. Of course, no matter how many times I tell interviewers it was his idea, they just keep giving me the credit. Maybe they just want the tidy auteur version. Oh well, can't change that. Let's just hope he has an idea for this one too. Friday can't get here soon enough.
I think that he mentioned Tynan before as well, actually. I think that was like in chapter 1. Let's finish off Dan and see what he wants. The sound thing is still a little weird to me. I gotta get used to it.
You can sleep with us.
What about Tommy?
Every time. I always do those backwards.
Did it. Got it to Paul on Monday and just about dropped on the spot. Barely slept Sunday night, but damn it, I got it in. Abject terror is a pretty strong motivator. Linda understood, I guess. She had her own deadlines, so at least she could identify, but in the end it was still a choice, and she didn't let me off the hook. Can't blame her, really. Sometimes you just have to make tough calls. That's why they're called tough calls.
Interesting. Let's see what Dan wants. Check those fishing poles. Maybe we could find a pond.
Hey, Mommy.
I don't think that's conducive to a good writing environment. I think that you need to focus on your work, Dan, and not be so worried about fishing with your buddy. That's just my personal opinion. If you were gonna go fishing with anybody, you should go fishing with your son. So no, I have made up my mind. Dan is not getting anything this time around. We will leave it to Tommy and Mom. Read thoughts. We can use the blue sheets to make a sofa fort.
Having fun today?
Yeah.
Well. This is a tough one, guys. I actually really don't know who I want to choose. I mean, between Tommy and Linda. I guess we'll go with Tommy as our main choice, because I really think that he is more important than the other two, you know, and their work life is important, but I don't know. I feel like Tommy doesn't get enough attention. Like, he's kind of caught up in the middle of this. So let's choose Tommy. And then we'll compromise with Linda with the blue sweater, because I think that Dan, well, yes, he should have some fun. He needs to worry about his family and his marriage situation and all that now, and he can have fun later. I think the sweater was in here. Let's choose Linda. I wonder what happens if we play the game without choosing any compromises and we just focus on the other stuff. Ooh. Diary of Claire Bradford, September. I forgot about these. Oh, man. Okay. So these are notes that are kind of like spread about, and they're usually like from the past and stuff. So it kind of gives more perspective on who I am as like the ghost thing, whispering things, and like where this house came from. So these are really fun. Roger and I talked everything over today, and it was a mistake to speak so soon. I never should have brought any of this up without making up my mind first. Now I've only made things more difficult. I guess I was daydreaming, and he asked me what was on my mind, and before I could help it, it just came out, although maybe I wanted to get it off my chest. I told him I wasn't sure it was the right time to get married, and it upset him badly. It didn't matter how many times I told him that I wasn't calling it off, that I just had questions, that I hadn't made up my mind either way. All he heard was that I didn't love him anymore. Which isn't true at all, but it didn't matter how many times I said that either. He's gone off for a drive, and now I'm here in the house alone, and I think I've made up my mind. I hope he gets back soon so I can tell him. You mean you think that I've whispered something in your ear and convinced you to see reason? At least I guess so. I think that's what my role as specter of the house is. Mess with people's lives and make them do things they wouldn't normally do. Play God, if you will. Diary of Claire Bradford, September 7th, so I think this one's before. I realize now that this isn't about Roger, it's about me. I have to decide who I want to be. Marrying Roger will set so many things in motion. We'll be a well-to-do couple, safe and secure with wonderful friends and loving families. I may slowly fade into being Roger's wife instead of Claire, but that will be society's doing, not Roger's. He loves me too much to do that. But what about my music? If I'm accepted at Berkeley, I don't know what we'll do. I can't ask him to quit his job for a month after he starts, but what kind of couple lives in separate cities as soon as they get married? The decision can't be this black and white, can it? Position and safety versus a crazy pursuit alone? Is there a way to have it all? Do I even want it all? Will I ruin everything no matter what I choose? No, there's not a way to have it all. As we can tell from this narrative, you have to make compromises and get things to work. And it's not easy. But that's what I'm here for, right? Whisper sweet nothings. Dan knew how important it was for Tommy to play with friends of his age, so he grabbed the sheets and gave Tommy a few tips on the finer points of structural engineering and sofa fort construction. When Davy came over, the two boys stayed up watching TV and eating ice cream far past their bedtimes, laughing and playing until they ran out of steam and passed out in the fort. I think fort construction should be a college topic. I would major in that. Linda was glad they were able to make room for everyone, but with so much going on in the house, she didn't get as much time as she would have liked to visit her parents. They were glad to be able to come at all, though. Linda didn't get a chance to pull her mother aside and see how her parents were doing. Don't focus on their relationship. Focus on your relationship. You're having trouble. You don't need to worry about them. Dan hated missing a chance to get feedback on his book, and he found the company distracting. He tried to work through the commotion, but he never got into a rhythm. He couldn't even focus long enough to do small corrections, so instead he accepted the role of selfless host and spent the weekend running errands, not working. Excellent. All right. Well, I think we're going to stop there for now. This game is so terrible. I mean, if you go all the way with Dan, yeah, he supports his family some, but then Davy and Linda are kind of left out in the dark. Maybe his marriage falls apart. Well, then it really doesn't matter, does it? And if you neglect Davy too much, not Davy, sorry, Tommy, if you neglect Tommy too much, he's gonna have like messed up childhood issues, man. Like, how do you choose this? Because also, if you focus on Linda, their marriage falls apart, I'm pretty sure. Because he's going to get frustrated that his book's not working. So I'm almost wondering if my equal concept of trying to appease all the family members equally isn't going to come back to bite me in the end, and it's all going to fall apart anyway. I guess we will have to find out. Well, that's the end of this episode. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you here next time.